Part 47. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 461. Wu Yuan only thought that Zhang Jingfeng was hiding deep enough, just for the Jedi counter-attack at this moment. No wonder he didn't worry about it before, and even Gu Yao didn't compromise with him at all. It turned out that everything was waiting for him here. I have to say that he thinks too much, but there are actually many people who think like him. At this time, Wu Yuan wants to take back the forward and let Alchemy Wei and Alchemy Kui return to his camp. It's not just the monks of Dingxian Pavilion. If they go back on it, it will hurt the reputation of Xian Pavilion greatly. Wu Yuan hated so much that Gao Tian did not expect such a situation, but he was very concerned about his master. Does Master Wu think that Master will lose to an unknown alchemist, Su Yan? Never heard of it at all. Okay, then I will wait, Wu Yuan spat out word by word. Others felt that such a sentence sounded very familiar, and after careful consideration, was it not the common voice of Gao Tian when he challenged Yao Danji? At that time, most people thought that Gao Tian, an alchemist from Lingzhou, would never lose to an unknown alchemist, but as a result, he slapped everyone in the face, and alchemist Yao won by an absolute advantage. This time, will I be slapped in the face again? With such thoughts in their hearts, they didn't dare to speak out anymore. It's not too late to see the results. Alchemist Shen Xing should have a chance of winning. For more than a year, the monks in Fengming City have somewhat known about the fit monk beside Yao Danji, but what they know about him is that most of the time he spends most of the time eating and drinking in the city, wandering around, and sometimes people around Zhang Jingfeng deliberately accompany him. It is hard to imagine that such a person would be an alchemist with superb alchemy skills. On stage, Su Chen was very satisfied with the amazing effect he and Gu Yao had created. Gu Yao was right, so that's interesting. He showed his white teeth and smiled brightly at the people under the stage. Many female cultivators couldn't bear it. Stay puffy. The chief executive announced that the general pavilion would provide a batch of spirit herbs, and the alchemists would select the 3 materials they needed from these spirit herbs, and refine the 3 burning pills. Finally, the second-grade Dan elders of the main pavilion and the city lord's mansion invited them. Alchemists, according to the situation of the 3 pots of pills refined by each alchemist, give a comprehensive score. Both Gu Yao and Su Chen have heard Zhang Jingfeng say that there are only 3 ingredients, but it doesn't matter whether they can be made into pills, so whether the alchemist chooses the same spirit grass or refines 3 different pills, it is up to the alchemist, it is up to you to decide. Of course, the score of the former is definitely lower than that of the latter, but there are also alchemists who prefer to choose the former in order to ensure success. After all, not every alchemist can guarantee 100% alchemy. As soon as the rules of the chief executive were announced, Shen Xing was the first to set off. He let go of his consciousness and included all the spirit grasses. The types of spirit grasses were clear at a glance. He picked out 3 pairs of materials at a glance, and those who knew it would understand at a glance that Shen Xing chose 2 pairs of 3rd-grade intermediate pills and 1 pair of 3rd-grade high-level pills. After Wu Yuan listened to others' explanations, the expression on his face was relieved, but the look in Zhang Jingfeng's eyes was still gloomy. If the 3rd-grade pill is refined, I am afraid that it may not be possible. When Shen Wengxing came back, he cast a glance at Gu Yao and Su Chen, then frowned slightly. Did he find the wrong person? The sudden addition of alchemists made Shen Xing doubt his own judgment, but it was important to refine alchemy first. If he lost to his opponent in such a contest, he would be embarrassed. Su Chen took Gu Yao's hand and said carelessly, let's go, and choose, we'll all choose the 3rd-grade pill, do you know? The voice was not small. The other alchemists who went to select the materials together almost stumbled when they heard it. Looking back at the 2, some did not understand whether Su Chen was an alchemist, or did he deliberately come up to make a fool of himself. Although Yao's alchemy skills are good, he is still a 4th grade alchemist, right? Gu Yao couldn't help laughing and said in cooperation, I listen to Uncle Shi. The other alchemists twitched their mouths and turned their heads, not looking at these two foolish cultivators. Did they really think they were playing a family? However, many cultivators around Zhang Jingfeng can finally show their joy. Is it easy for them to restrain themselves from revealing any rumors to the outside world for so long? What's going on? Could it be that Yao Alchemist is already a 3rd grade alchemist? Did you already know it? SHH, it's okay to have some things in mind, it's important to watch the game. There is no positive answer, but there is no denial, which is equivalent to admitting that Yao Alchemist is not a 4th grade alchemist, but has already stepped into the ranks of 3rd grade alchemists. The consciousness swept over here, and naturally such a conversation fell into their ears. They all looked at Zhang Jingfeng and Gu Yao on the stage in surprise. Is it really a 3rd grade alchemist? Elder Dan, could it be that this Yao alchemist has been promoted to a 3rd rank alchemist? Someone asked from the general pavilion. Elder Dan stroked his beard and said with a smile, Alchemist Yao has already selected the first set of materials, which I think is exactly what is needed for refining the Heiwan pill. I have seen the photo stone he tested a year ago, and Alchemist Yao has a very calm personality. Alchemist. Some people remembered the match between Gao Tian and Alchemist Yao a year ago. Indeed, compared with Gao Tim, Alchemist Yao could not be more comfortable with calmness during the entire test. Therefore, such an alchemist would be in this situation. Are you fooling around? Are you kidding about your reputation? Not very likely. After selecting the first set of materials, Gu Yao started to select the second set. Looking at the first spirit grass he started, everyone knew that he actually chose a 3rd grade medicinal pill, which is another 3rd grade primary medicinal pill. The main medicine and other spiritual herbs that were selected one after another also proved everyone's speculation. When he started with the 3rd material, many people in the audience had their jaws dropped. Is the emotion of Alchemist Yao different? Are they all 3 grade pills? All the cultivators present understood one thing. This time, as long as Gu Yao had a pot of 3rd rank pill to become a pill, his reputation would rise to a higher level. As for the 3 burning pills, all of them become pills? This possibility has never appeared in everyone's mind. Wouldn't this be against the sky? While they were paying attention to Gu Yao, they were also paying attention to another dark horse, Su Yan in everyone's eyes. After a few swipes, he chose the same one as Shen Xing. One is the same. It's almost like copying. Many monks held their chins. Did this guy come to power to make trouble, or did he really have the intention to compete with Shen Xing? Elder Dan, what do you think is going on? Elder Dan also showed surprise. Today's surprises are really coming out one after another. It's hard to say. Let's go and see. If you add another 3rd grade senior alchemist, that's a good thing. Shen Xing also saw it, his brows showed the word Chuan, and he exchanged a cryptic look with the unfamiliar cultivator under the stage. Mood. After taking the materials and returning to their seats, the alchemists took out the alchemy furnace and started alchemy. The pill stove Su Chen took out once again attracted everyone's attention. Isn't that a top-quality treasure Tianxin stove? This pill stove was born once 1,000 years ago, but it disappeared after that. I didn't expect it to fall into Su Donji's hands. As soon as this pill furnace appeared, almost no one doubted Su Chen's identity as an alchemist. If it wasn't an alchemist, who would have paid such a high-quality pill furnace? Elder Dan was once again surprised and said, yes, it is the Tianxin furnace. The Tianxin furnace is named after a ray of Tianxin fire in the furnace. The Tianxin fire is a different fire that is extremely difficult to suppress. It is a perfect fusion of the Dan furnace. It is the masterpiece of the craftsman who made this pill furnace. Yeah, how many alchemy masters competed in the beginning, but disappeared silently in the end. No one knows. I didn't expect to show up in 1,000 years. It seems that this pair of nephews has a great background. There are many masters who have been robbed. It is amazing to be able to steal from those people without revealing their identities. Gu Yao turned his head and saw Su Chen showing a smug look, and he had a feeling of crying and laughing. He also knew that this was the Tianxin furnace, but for him who had the Lotus Heart Fire, the value of this pill furnace was not as great as his own, but I didn't expect that Tianxin furnace had such a big history. I have to say that the master really worked hard for the predecessors. Gu Yao rolled his eyes, and Liang Xinhuo let him sacrifice. With the Tianxin stove in front of him, his Liang Xinhuo was not so intimidating. But as soon as Liang Xin's fire came out, there was another gasp sound on the stage and off the stage. Correspondingly, the cultivator on Wu Yuan's side was even more ugly. How many tricks did the surname Zhang hide? Zhang Jingfeng also twitched at the corners of his mouth and eyes. This surprise made him a little unable to react. He had to work hard to keep his composure, so as not to make people think that he didn't know anything about it. In fact, he just didn't know it. Alchemy Wei and Alchemy Kui, who were both on the stage, were equally unsightly. Whether it was Tianxin stove or Lotus Heart Fire, the pressure was too great for them. Will this face stay in Fengming City? Huang Ruyu's face was pale, and her eyes were fixed on the lotus fire that Gu Yao sacrificed. Hula la, all the alchemists on the stage have started to concoct alchemy. There are only low whispers on and off the stage. Most of them are watching the competition with all their attention. In the 4 rounds of competition, it is the last one that is exciting. Gu Yao's first pot was Heiwen Pill. The action was almost the same as the one he fought against Gao Tian a year ago, and the word calm was brought into full play again, which made people feel that this pot would definitely work. Out of Dan. Gao Tian knew that he had completely lost to Gu Yao, and he could find a reason for himself when he lost the last time, because the other party's spiritual power cultivation base was a little higher than him, and when he reached the final stage of virtual refinement, he would definitely be able to beat the other party. Only now did I know that the opponent actually hid his strength in the competition with him, which was simply a humiliation to him. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 462. Halfway through the alchemy process, there was an explosion in the alchemy furnace of Alchemist Wei, and the top cover was lifted off. Alchemist Wei and Sun Xiaodong in the audience were as black as charcoal, not to mention Alchemist Su Yan, but Alchemist Yao was also proceeding in an orderly manner. It is almost impossible to overtake Zhang Jingfeng. Sun Xiaodong's family was so proud before, and now he is in a terrible mood. He thought that by borrowing a third-grade alchemist from Wu Yuan, he would be able to step on the surname Zhang. For this, he paid Wu Yuan a lot. There are few benefits. Now it is very likely that you will lose rice if you can't steal chickens. Alchemy Wei controlled himself not to look at the situation at Gu Yao and Su Chen. He knew very well how difficult the situation would be in the future if he failed this time. He would definitely not be able to stay in Fengming City alone. It is the more you want to successfully become a Dan that backfires. He had to slowly adjust his mentality, slowly clean up the pill furnace, and prepare for the next one. He knew his level well, so unlike Gu Yao, he chose the same pill for the 3 ingredients. He thought this option is the safest. After a while, Alchemist Wei adjusted his state and started alchemy again. For the alchemists in the audience, this is a rare opportunity. When have they seen so many third-rank alchemists on the same stage? They devote themselves to the observation. As long as they can understand a thing or two from it, they will be able to tell them about their alchemy skills. The improvement is very beneficial. Of course, Shen Xing, Su Chen, and Gu Yao were the 3 people who became the focus on stage. Seeing Su Chen's relaxed appearance, many people in the audience reacted. He is clearly a master of alchemy, so I don't know who is better than Shen Xing. With all their concentration, they couldn't feel the passage of time at all. When the sound of exploding sound came from the Shenxing Dan furnace, everyone was not surprised at all. Isn't it expected that Shenxing successfully completed the Dan? If he misses a third-grade intermediate alchemy, he will be sorry for his status as an alchemist in Lingzhou. Looking at Su Chen again, there was also a tremor in the Tianxin furnace, and the scent of Dan also floated out. Is this going to be released after Shenxing? One by one, their eyes widened, not wanting to miss any detail. The high-level executives of the General Pavilion on the stage and the specially invited guests were also looking forward to the result of the two people's elixir. Shenxing took the lead out of the pill. The 9 pills circled in the air and then got into the jade bottle. Everyone could see the quality of the pills clearly. The cultivator standing on Wu Yuan's side was naturally excited. There were actually 2 top-grade pills, which were 3-grade pills. It should be said that it really lived up to the reputation of Lingzhou's alchemist. Just when the audience was buzzing, Su Chen also released pills here, and the pills ran out impatiently like runaway children, and stayed in the air for a while before reluctantly climbing into the jade bottle. The voice on and off the stage suddenly lost. After a while, there was a sound of swallowing saliva, and finally someone spoke. This scene reminded me of the scene when alchemist Gao challenged alchemist Yaoi a year ago, as if the scene from that day was repeated. The elders of Dingxian Pavilion on the stage also looked at each other in disbelief. This alchemist Su, who appeared out of nowhere, is actually better than Shenxing in his alchemy skills? Where did the dark horse come from? Really 3 top-grade pills? We're not mistaken. Elder Dan's mood is also more complicated, but he affirmed, "You are right, there are 3 top-grade pills." Although there are some pill formulas and techniques that outsiders can't know, Elder Dan still understands a little bit. On Shenxing's side, the primary task is to produce top-quality pills, even if the quality of the pills is sacrificed, so this leads to the same pot of pills, at the same time as the appearance of need for Dan. There are also 2 middle-grade pills, and there may even be waste pills. But Alchemist Su was different. He and Alchemist Yao followed the same path and pursued the balance between the medicinal pills in the pill furnace, so the quality of each medicinal pill was not too different. As an alchemist, he is not sure which way is better, each has its own advantages, and it depends on the alchemist's choice. Moreover, those techniques of Shenxing are definitely unique to Lingzhou and even Lingyun building. The outside alchemists can't learn it if they want to learn. There are many alchemists out there who want to get such a secret technique. Su Chen didn't look at Shenxing's situation, but closed his eyes and adjusted his breath for a while, adjusting his state to prepare for the lower furnace. Now is not the time for him to reshape his body. He is not just eating, drinking and having fun in the island and Fengming city. He is also honing his alchemy skills. With this period of practice, he can guarantee that his alchemy skills are the same as those of the past. The self is quite different. After reading the books in the Pill Pavilion over the years, it is not that he has not made a little progress. In addition, after Guyao appeared, he borrowed the techniques and ideas from Guyao, and his pill technique is constantly being adjusted. It can be said that he learns from each other. Compared with himself back then, his alchemy skills have improved a lot. Like Guyao, he did not use the soul refining method, which means that he still has reservations, but as long as he wins Shenxing, it will be fine. Aren't the alchemists in Lingzhou very conceited? When outsiders beat them, can they maintain this arrogance? He also knows the secret technique of sacrificing the qualities of other medicinal pills to obtain the best pills. This is what the senior pill Immortal left behind, but the senior pill Immortal also pays attention. He does not advocate this kind of secret technique, because it is not conducive to the overall pill technique. However, it seems that these alchemists in Lingzhou are more and more eager to achieve success and only focus on results. When Su Chen finished adjusting his breath and prepared for the next pot of pills, other alchemists also released pills one after another. Kui Xian felt that he played well, but the monks on and off the stage didn't know what to look at her. She produced both middle-grade and low-grade pills. If there were no comparison objects, Shen Xing and Su Yan, and her results were so outstanding, her results would be considered good. However, in front of top-grade pills, the mid-grade and low-grade pills are a bit underwhelming. Fortunately, this time, she didn't announce the results on the spot after refining the pills. She was concentrating on the pill refining and didn't know the results of Shen Xing and the others. Huang Ruya clenched her fists. The gap between Master and Shen Xing and Su Yan was too great. So far, the only saving grace was that the pills were released smoothly. It depends on the surname Yao. Su Chen took out a spirit fruit and held his chin while nibbling it while waiting for Gu Yao to release the pill next to him. This gesture made others speechless. No one was as comfortable as him. This was a tense comparison. Can you be more serious? Qi Changjai held his forehead, and was speechless to Su Chen, who was in an old condition. Hearing other people's speculations about Gu Yao's potion, Qi Changjai hooked the corner of his mouth, and of course he would not let them down. Zhang Jingfeng and the monks around him were already in a relaxed state, because Su Yan's alchemy skills were beyond their expectations. Who would have thought that he would still be able to beat Shen Xing? Even if alchemist Yao couldn't get his grades, it wouldn't affect Zhang Jingfeng's ranking. After the buzzer, the pills were traced out of the pill furnace. There were exactly 9 pills, and one was not bad. The pills were both high grade and middle grade. The audience immediately began to talk about it. This achievement was actually better than Kui Xian's. It's good, Kui Xian, a combined alchemist, can't beat an illusory alchemist. Su Chen nodded with satisfaction. Keep up the good work, don't make mistakes. Yes, uncle. Anyone who sees the scene will think that Gu Yao was taught by Su Chen. In fact, it is not bad. There are 3 kinds of alchemy skills in Gu Yao. 1/3 of the credit is attributed to Su Chen, the next third is attributed to Dan Pavilion, and the other third is from Gu Yao's previous life. Kui Xian's face darkened. He didn't expect to lose to a virtual alchemist. What is the origin of this Yao? Although in front of Shen Xing and Gao Tian's master and apprentice, she intentionally or unintentionally linked the surnamed Yao with Gu Yao, who was originally from Giwen Pavilion, but she became suspicious after seeing the situation of the surname Yao's elixir. She did not believe that anyone could in 10 years, the cultivation base and the alchemy technique have been raised to such a high level. Even the alchemists in Danzhou couldn't do it, so how could Gu Yao do it? Gu Yao didn't take the eyes of others differently. He glanced at Su Chen, who had invested in a new pot of alchemy, and took a pill to adjust his breath. It consumes a lot of his spiritual power. When the second pot of pills was finished, the pills were finally released from Alchemist Wei, but his face was not very good looking, and he didn't get the color of pills smoothly. When the pills erupted, everyone understood him. Why such an expression? Because there are only 5 pills in one pot, and they are all low-grade pills. With a click, Sun Xiaodong broke the armrest of the chair he was sitting on. Others cast a subtle sympathetic look at him. All the alchemists on the stage have basically started their second alchemy, and the people in the main pavilion and the invited guests also chatted casually. Of course they used restraint, and no one could hear their conversation. Zhang Jingfeng, an elder in the main pavilion, blamed him. This Jingfeng is also true, such an excellent third-rank alchemist is hidden and tucked away. Someone laughed and said, could it be that someone around the elder went to alchemist Shen to ask for alchemy? Could it be that the elder has a heartache? There are only 3 pots of pills in Wu Yuan every month, one of which is given to the general pavilion. Privately asking for pills requires an additional price. The list is limited, so in order to the remaining 2 pots, each party shows their magical powers and spends a lot of money. Good things are delivered. But there is still one person who can refine the top grade pills of the 3rd grade. If they were released earlier, would Wu Yuan be able to compete so high for the bidding price? Maybe in order to play with Zhang Jingfeng on the broadcast station, he took the initiative to lower his request. Humph, I don't believe you haven't used your brains, the elder countered, and it wasn't that he went to Wu Yuan alone to win the list. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 463. For the second pot of pills, the focus of everyone's attention was on Shen Xing and Su Yan. There is no doubt that the competition in this game will depend on the superiority of these two. Of course, Alchemist Yao has entered the third rank with the cultivation base of refining the virtual. The ranks of alchemists are also worth writing about. The second pot of pills, Shen Xing and Su Yan, were both third-grade intermediate-level pills, and they were made of the same kind of pill, which was the best way to tell the difference. Under everyone's attention, the progress of the two is almost the same. After Shen Xing's refining is completed, Su Yan is almost finished here. It looks like he is biting Shen Xing tightly, and Wu Yuan's expression on his face is distorted. Can't run up to the stage to disturb the Dan furnace surnamed Su. Gao Tian and Jin Long didn't even expect this kind of situation. They still look at Su Yan with ghostly eyes. Of course, Gao Tian has another strange and unrecognizable sense of ease in his heart. He lost to the outsiders alone. The unknown alchemist was the only one to be ashamed of. Returning to Lingzhou must be the object of ridicule by everyone, but now that the master has shared with him, most of the attention should be diverted. But this kind of thinking must not be told to people. Of course, he now has a reason for why he lost to Gu Yao. The alchemist who can defeat his master, as his nephew, Gu Yao's alchemy will naturally not pour. The original drop competition has also been strangely balanced. After the two friars on the stage, Shen Xing and Su Yan's second pill was released smoothly. Because of the pressure he felt from Shen Xing, he used the secret method to achieve the best grade pills, and finally he became 7 pills, 3 of which were top grade pills and 4 were medium grade pills. This result is not very ideal. If possible, he really wants to replace the 4 middle grade pills with 1 top grade pill, but the secret method is not omnipotent. If it is used forcefully, it is likely to endanger the previous 3 pills need for pill, so he can only give up, hoping that Su Yan will perform well in this furnace. He has just released the pill here, and Su Yan has also successfully released the pill. When everyone saw the pills spinning in the air, there were the same 9 pills as before. 3 of them had a dazzling halo. Needless to say, they were 3 top quality pills. Dan, and the rest are all high-grade Dan. Someone made a gasp. It can be said that compared to Shen Xing, Su Yan played quite stable. This result was exactly the same as the first one, and there was no fluctuation. Although Shen Xing also had 3 top-grade pills, this pills the score is obviously behind Su Yan. Some people couldn't help but look regretful. In fact, the 3 top-grade pills were quite outstanding, but what he encountered was not an ordinary genius pill master, but the kind that was still outstanding among the genius pill masters. Seeing this result, Shen Xing was so angry that he almost vomited blood, especially Su Chen grinned at him, his white teeth were so clearly visible, but Shen Xing only felt the naked provocation and ridicule, and he was almost angry. Vomiting blood. Seeing this scene, the monk on Zhang Jingfeng's side hurriedly lowered his head, so as not to expose the uncontrollable smile on his face to the eyes of others. Restrain, restrain. They haven't gotten to the point of being overwhelmed, but seeing Dan Shisu provoking Shen Xing like that, they were really cool. Wu Yuan touched his heart, and he also had a mouthful of old blood stuck in his throat. This surnamed Su is too bullying. Shen Xing pulled out a stiff smile, then turned back and told himself that there was still a pot of pills, and the last pot of pills would show the true chapter, and it was a big taboo to be disturbed by Su Yan's provocation, and Shen Xing swallowed too. The pill hurriedly closed his eyes and adjusted his breath to restore his state to the best. Su Chen looked around, saw the situation of other alchemists, and finally looked at Gu Yao, and then adjusted his breath. Gu Yao's stable state was so stable that he envied him, and he didn't need to worry at all. He also stayed in the pill pavilion for so long before he could settle down. At Gu Yao's age, he really couldn't do this. Degree. He is also a teacher and a friend to Gu Yao. In the future, Gu Yao's reputation will reverberate throughout the spiritual world, and he will be honored because he brought it out. Huang Ruyu twisted her hands together. Among the two alchemists in front of the friar, there was her master, and she was no better than Su Yan. Could it be that she would lose to his nephew, the one surnamed Yao? Why didn't the surnamed Yao bomb it together? She was very jealous of the Lotus Heart Fire. If she got the Lotus Heart Fire, the alchemy technique would definitely rise to a higher level. Lotus Heart Fire, that is the most easily subdued alchemist of the wood-fire dual system, and it is very helpful. But Gu Yao just didn't do as she wished, and steadily advanced the steps of alchemy forward, because Shen Xing and Su Yan were both adjusting their breaths, so everyone turned their attention to him. The pavilion master and Dan elders watched with admiration in their eyes. The two exchanged. This is indeed a good seedling. No wonder Jingfeng personally ran out to pick them up. Elder Dan agreed, yes, looking at his bone age, he is less than 500 years old, and his cultivation talent is not bad. The level of alchemy is higher than that of spiritual power, and it is very likely that he will advance to the second rank or even the first rank alchemist in the future. The pavilion owner agreed. Didn't Elder Dan find out, both he and that Ye Xiao have very strong qi and blood, and it is very likely that the body has been refined, so the probability of passing the catastrophe is much higher than others. Elder Dan hadn't noticed it before, but after listening to what the pavilion master said, he deliberately observed it, and it was exactly the same as what the pavilion master said. It was really hard to imagine that such a young monk would actually spend time and energy on body training. The cultivators in the spiritual world, especially the alchemists, often despise the body refiners, including Elder Dan and the others. They have lived for a long time and gradually realized some things, but the spirit of the spiritual world is like this, and the body training is too much. It is hard work. The spiritual world is rich in spiritual energy, and the advanced speed of spiritual power cultivation is much faster. As for the alchemist Su Yan, the pavilion master found that the spiritual energy on his body was very strong, and he felt like a natural spiritual body. This means that Su Chen has been on the island for many years, and he absorbs and restrains the spiritual energy in his body as much as possible, otherwise he will be found abnormal when he shows up, and it will be easy to be targeted. It was not for nothing that the master threw them on that island. First, Dan Master Wei produced pills, and the third pot was finally saved. There was no further blasting. Is set off without brilliance. Alchemist Wei's 3 burning pill was over, and he didn't have the face to stay on the stage any longer. Immediately following him, Gu Yao also released his pills. Everyone's spirits were lifted, and their eyes widened. Gu Yao once again played a stable role. Although he changed a kind of medicinal pill, he still issued 9 pills, and the appearance was still high grade and middle grade. There was a lot of discussion in the audience again. I thought it was a blessing for Alchemist Yao to refine the Heiwen pill, but I didn't expect it to be a genuine third-grade primary alchemist. This level is much higher than Alchemy Wei and Alchemy Kui. Yeah, the 2 pots are still made of different medicinal herbs, and both pots have successfully produced pills, which better shows the level of the alchemist. The one that can't be underestimated is Zhang Xiaodong's family. They were suppressed so badly by Wu Xiaodong's family before, and Zhang Xiaodong's family was forced to find another way. How can they know that these are all made for outsiders to see, and they have not been passed to that level? When it is exposed, Zhang Xiaodong's family is too calm. Not only other people think this way, Other competitors also think this way about Zhang Jingfeng, and they all look at him like they are poisoned. At the same time, he hides a deep fear. Even when Wu Yuan is forced into such a situation, he can still hold his breath and not reveal it. It shows how deep this person's scheming is. Is it really good to be an enemy of such a person? This bastard, of course, they also followed Wu Yuan and stepped on him for an unknown number of feet. After Zhang Jingfeng turned over, if he was in the upper position, would he hold no grudge against them? Thinking of this, I scolded Zhang Jingfeng as again. Is it interesting to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger? If Zhang Jingfeng could hear their heartfelt voices, he would definitely scream that he was wronged. He was only hiding Gu Yao, and he also knew nothing about Su Chen's situation. But seeing the fear in their eyes, Zhang Jingfeng expressed that he was very happy. It would be better if he was afraid. If he was afraid, he would be more honest and move less hands and feet. Compared with Wu Yuan, he was not so unforgiving. Although they already knew the final result on stage, it did not prevent them from attaching importance to the last pot of pills, because Shen Xing Suyan refined all the third-grade high-grade pills, so I don't know if they could become pills. How many pills can be made, and whether it can produce top-grade pills again. Some people are optimistic about Shen Xing, although the second pot is slightly inferior, but the gap is not very big. Some people have asked Shen Xing for a third-grade high-grade pill before, so he should have no problem with this pot. The reason why Suyan won a small victory in the second furnace, but don't forget that he used the Tianxin furnace. Those who stood on Shen Xing's side felt that if the Tianxin furnace fell into Shen Xing's hands, where would there be Suyan? It's time to be proud. Yes, these people think that Suyan is the convenience of Tianxin furnace. But for the alchemists who only focused on observing and learning, the contest between the two undoubtedly provided them with a feast of alchemy techniques, making them feast for the eyes. The progress of the two was almost the same again, but at the back, instead, Suyan's speed increased, and Shen Xing's speed dropped when dividing the pills into pills. Elder Dan saw clearly, understood what was going on, and explained to the pavilion master that after dividing the pills, Shen Xing was using a secret method to forcibly extradite the essence of other medicinal pills to the medicinal pills of better quality, so the cost of the time will be slightly longer, and Suyan doesn't need to do this, so it seems to be faster than Shen Xing. In fact, it wasn't that Suyan was getting faster, but that Shen Xing was getting slower. If someone can see the situation in Shen Xing's pill furnace at this time, they will be surprised to find that there are 2 swimming pools in his pill furnace. The 2 vortexes are centered on one pill, and each has 3 pills. Rotating around, during the rotation process, the 3 medicinal pills were transpired, and all the medicinal pills were absorbed by the one in the center. As this process continued, the radiance of the pill in the center became more and more prosperous, while the 3 pills surrounding it became more and more dim, until finally, with a slight bang, the 3 pills the medicine disintegrated into powder and sank to the bottom of the pill furnace. Among them, Shen Xing also took the time to bite the pill that was wrapped under the tongue with spiritual power, replenishing the rapidly depleted spiritual power in the body. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 464. In the last batch of Suyan, the pill was released first, and it was no surprise to everyone who watched it now. It was very clear who let Shen Xing fall behind. Could it be that Shen Xing is really inferior to Suyan? Seeing the medicinal pills jumping into the air, there was an uproar in the audience. It was very obvious that there were 2 top-grade pills with 7 high-grade pills. This result was quite outstanding. Even the 2 second-grade pill masters present could not guarantee there can have such a result. The 2 second-grade alchemists glanced at each other, and both laughed and shook their heads. Sometimes it's hard to say what talent is. They have been very talented along the way. They were envied by others before, but seeing Suyan like this, can't help but admire his more outstanding talent. Their own talents are not high enough, and they can't climb all the way to the level of second-rank alchemists. It is necessary to know how many peers have been left behind by them along the way. Both of them knew very well that Shen Xing had lost, and he was not wronged. Gao Tian also knew that Master lost. No matter what he thought, his face showed the same unacceptable look as Jin Ba. Jin Long is the hardest to accept. He never believed that his master would lose to an unknown alchemist. Just like her senior brother, how could senior brother lose to Yao? He must have used some shady means. Maybe there is also the credit of the Lian Xinhuo. Isn't the surnamed Su relying on the heart furnace of that day? If these two things are exchanged in the hands of senior brother and master, how can these two people be arrogant? Shen Xing was not too far behind, and when he was hiding a piece of it, his pill furnace also spewed out pills, but there were only 2 pills. But fortunately, these 2 are top quality pills, and they saved some popularity for him. Who would dare to underestimate the alchemist who can make top-grade pills? Tired of living. However, the 2 second-grade alchemists on the stage found that the brilliance of Shen Xing's 2 top-grade pills was actually slightly inferior to Su Yan's. Even better, Shen Xing reluctantly forcibly upgraded the 2 medicinal pills to the top grade. Su Chen, who had already finished his work, also saw the situation of these 2 top-grade pills, and a disapproving smile flashed in his eyes. In fact, all kinds of secret methods have been proposed by the senior pill immortals long ago, and the more high-end pills are used, the more they will be exposed. But he also knew why these people would not give up, because if they gave up, they would not even be able to refine top-grade pills when they reached high-level pills, such as second-grade, third-grade pills or even first-grade pills, so how could they give up? Lingzhou, as the holy land of alchemists, enjoys a detached status. Do you still want it? After getting in touch with Gu Yao, he actually had a new view on this secret method. It is not that this secret method has its merits, but it depends on where it is used, so he taught this secret method to Gu Yao, and sure enough, Gu Yao will combining this secret method with his own unique refining method. If he really let go of his hands to concoct pills, it would terrify the monks present. After Shen Xing received the elixir, the first thing he did was to use his divine sense to sweep the jade bottle in front of Su Yan, wanting to see the situation of Su Yan's last elixir. As a result of this sweep, his face almost collapsed, and the faint smugness in his heart just now turned into embarrassment. He exhausted his efforts to achieve 2 top-grade pills, but others easily produced 2 top-grade pills without sacrificing other pills. With this, he surpassed him. Shen Xing, who was always unwilling to admit defeat, this time his face turned pale, and he had to admit that he really lost to an alchemist who had never heard of the name. Shen Xing inhaled and inhaled again, trying to calm down his unwillingness and anger, so that no one could underestimate him. He got up and bowed his hands to Su Yan. Su Dan is so good at alchemy, Shen Mao is ashamed. One day in the future, I also hope that when Dan Master Su goes to Lingzhou, the door of Lingyuan building will be open to Master Su at any time. Su Yan smiled. Okay, Su will definitely go to Lingzhou. All parties in Lingzhou are so excited for him, how can he let those old guys down? So Lingzhou must go, but Lingyuan Tower is enough. Okay, Shen wait. After Shen Xing finished speaking, he put away the pill furnace and returned to the stage. He didn't seem to be disappointed, and some monks praised his heart again. Su Chen didn't leave, he took out the spirit fruit and chomped on it again. He wanted to wait for Gu Yao to finish refining the pill and go down together to see how caring he was. What can others say? Can you kick him out? Isn't it just an alchemist with a somewhat unruly temperament? Can an expert still have a temper of his own? If someone wants to criticize one sentence, they will definitely get a rare and strange reply. This is the advantage of having strength. You have no strength. If you do the same thing, everyone will think that you are arrogant, but now, everyone thinks that you are a master with personality. In the end, Su Chen and Gu Yao were slaughtered on the stage. The other alchemists either blew up the furnace or finished it. Fourth grade medicinal pills took a little less time. Of course, Gu Yao deliberately slowed down the speed. As if he didn't notice the situation around him, Gu Yao still carried out his alchemy in a leisurely manner. The voices of the audience discussing Shen Xing and Su Yan gradually faded, and most of their eyes were on Gu Yao. Many monks, especially the alchemists who came to observe, cast admiring glances at him. Dan must have become again 3 different medicinal pills, reaching a 100% Dan Cheng rate. Such an achievement is not smaller than the halo of his uncle Su Yan. Zhang Jingfeng and the people around him have gone from initial shock to excitement and now to numbness. Isn't it Cheng Dan? It's definitely no problem. It's not surprising that Yao Danqi and his uncle are like this. Excellent, that look, as if they had known for a long time how good these two were. In the end, Gu Yao lived up to the expectations, and still kept 9 pills, all of which were high-grade and middle-grade pills. Many monks in the audience clapped their hands to express their respect and congratulations to him. If I had Lotus Heart Fire, my grades would definitely not be bad. The implication is that there is nothing remarkable. This sounded sour, and someone immediately refuted, this spiritual world alchemist is not the first Yao alchemist to have a strange fire, those alchemists can achieve the same results as Yao alchemist. In the end, the special fire is just a supporting role. To be more precise, it is the icing on the cake. The alchemy technique is good, and with the help of the strange fire, it will be better and better. Do you want to rely on the strange fire to reach the sky in one step? Don't be afraid of falling. Someone else muttered, if alchemist Shen had the help of Tianxin furnace, he would definitely not lose to alchemist Su. Others also have something to refute. Sometimes, luck is also a part of strength. Just like the battle of life and death, who will care if you are relying on the benefits of treasures and will shout unfair? Many monks here have heard about the birth of Tianxin furnace thousands of years ago. Maybe Shen Xing also had the idea of Tianxin furnace, but in the end, Tianxin furnace fell into Su Yan's hands. Go grab it yourself if you can. The chief executive and the 2 second-grade alchemists tested all the medicinal pills on the spot and scored them. The constantly rolling values on the jade bib once again attracted everyone's attention. The most amazing thing was, of course, that Zhang Jingfeng's scores kept increasing. It increases, then the position keeps rising, passing one place after another, and finally climbed to the first place. The various exclamations in the square became louder. Before this, in a longer period of time, who could have guessed the result? At that time, some people dared to say it, and I was afraid that they would also be laughed at by others. But now Zhang Jingfeng's score was 6 points higher than Wu Yuan's. With only a 6-point difference, Wu Yuan fell out of the first place, ranking after Zhang Jingfeng. As for Sun Xiaodong's family, after Wei Danqi's defeat, he was so angry that he wanted to scold Wei Danqi badly, but now looking at the ranking displayed on the jade bib, he laughed out loud again. Before, he focused all his attention on Zhang Jingfeng. He only thought that he could not push Zhang Jingfeng down as he wished, and that he forgot the existence of others. So now, he did not push Zhang Jingfeng down. The original ranked 4th was suppressed, and he became 5th. It was a false alarm, but he was happy. It seems that the surname Wei is not so useless. The louder Sun Xiaodong laughed, the darker Wu Yuan's face became. If he hadn't lent out alchemy Wei and alchemist Kui, how could he have fallen behind Zhang Jingfeng? So deep, to lure him into being fooled, he must have been very proud when he first came to power. Wu Yuan took all this as Zhang Jingfeng had calculated early, otherwise how could he have made such a stupid move? Zhang Jingfeng was also surprised and shocked. He didn't expect to overtake him. Su Chen overwhelmed Shen Xing, but he couldn't catch up with the score, but with Gu Yao, it was different. Gu Yao's score, the value is more, and the gap is continuously narrowed, so that in the end, it is more than 6 points. The monk beside him was even more excited, with tears in his eyes. Zhang Jingfeng was grateful to Gu Yao and Su Chen. All of this is due to Senior Su and Alchemist Yao. Jingfeng thanks you too for your help. Zhang Jingfeng's second grandfather, Zhang Huai, was also excited and grateful. Yeah, Jingfeng said it well, without the two, there would be no him now. The interests of the Zhang family were tied to Zhang Jingfeng, but before that, he never thought that the hidden card could play such a big role. Thinking about it now, they thought wrong before. Since Su Yan is Yao's alchemist's uncle, it is very likely that he is an alchemist. Looking back, Zhang Huai couldn't help but feel ashamed. Any force that encountered an excellent third-grade alchemist like Su Yan would offer him up. Before, they would only try to meet his requirements because they valued Yao alchemist and his combined cultivation. But in fact, it was still a lot of bad treatment. Fortunately, this alchemist Su Yan had a good temperament and did not leave with a slap in the face because of such treatment. Looking at the treatment on Shen Xing's side, and looking at Su Yan's side, there is no comparison at all. This time, the competition inside the Dingxian Pavilion was not as large as the number of viewers in the challenge competition a year ago. After the assessment was over, the cultivators dispersed, and the entire Fengming city quickly spread, and the most talked about was the one. Su Yan is a dark horse. In the same way, Zhang Jingfeng has also become a dark horse in the Dingxian Pavilion candidate competition, because no one was optimistic about him before, who would have thought that he would rush to the front. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 465. Compared with Zhang Jingfeng's approach, Wu Yuan just played a show to the public. He clearly had the advantage on his side. Even though he had 3 third-grade alchemists, he still lost to Zhang Jingfeng. The cultivators in Fengming City would not speak loudly about Wu Yuan's sleazy manipulations, but they talked a lot in private, and they could laugh at this joke for thousands of years. Wu Yuan taught everyone a living lesson: don't get carried away before the last step. Even at the last moment, the boat may capsize. The situation in Fengming City has changed so quickly. Those forces were rushing to Wu Xiao's side before, and they had to step on Zhang Xiao by the way. In the past few days, many people have brought gifts to apologize to Zhang Xiao, but Zhang Xiao, how can you have time to greet them, busy receiving the power of the eliminated Xiaodong family? No, I didn't see Zhang Xiao's men coming out in the past few days. All of them held their heads high, thanks to them being able to hold back before. Actually, those guys don't know that Zhang Xiao is busy. They are clearly going to Sudan, and see that it is also a third-grade high-grade pill. Shendan can only produce 2 top-grade pills, but Sudan has 2 top-grade pills at the same time. There are 7 high-grade pills. Who can underestimate the value of the extra 7 high-grade pills? Oh, these Danqi Su and Danqi Yao are really amazing. By the way, have you found out where this pair of nephews came from? It can't be out of thin air, right? It's really not known before? Don't say it, it really seems to have appeared out of thin air. It is estimated that only Zhang Xiao knows their origins now. It is said that Zhang Xiao received the letter and ran out to pick up people in person. If he didn't know their level, where would Zhang Xiao be? Will it do more than that? At that moment, many monks joked that Zhang Jingfeng was at the end of the road. Actually, most of us in the spiritual world are hidden monks. People don't like to be in the limelight, so they say that our spiritual world's calamity transcendence is really only those seniors we know. Everyone can't guarantee this. The spiritual world is really too big. Many cultivators don't like to walk outside on weekdays, or they hide their identities. If you don't expose yourself, such as Master Su, who will know that he is an alchemist? A superb third-grade senior alchemist? Yeah, without this background, how could you get the Tianxin furnace at the beginning, and the alchemists who participated in the robbery have not discovered it yet? Everyone was very curious about the origins of Suyan and Yao Danji. There was no result after discussion and discussion. The only clue was the Dingtian heart furnace, which led to the unfathomable behind this pair of nephews, and the more they talked, the more they felt that this speculation was correct. Otherwise, they would be indifferent in the face of the recruitment and suppression of Shen Xing's master and apprentice. The cultivators outside were speculating about Gu Yao and the others, as were Wu Yuan and Shen Xing. Wu Yuan has sent out a lot of people. It is important to find out their origins. It is easy to start by knowing themselves and their enemies. However, the only thing that can be found is their experience after entering Fengzhou, and they only know how to eat, drink and have fun along the way. They are also actively contacted. That is to say, Zhang Jingfen knew their origins well, but he didn't know anything about it. This feeling made Wu Yuan's anger continue to rise, and he tortured several furnaces in his house. After a while, the anger in my heart was vented a little. Shen Xing naturally knew of Wu Yuan's investigation results. In the past few days, everyone around him was feeling the pressure, except for the strange cultivator Gu Yao they had met once. Shen Xing tapped the table with his finger and asked the monk sitting opposite him, "Senior Peng, did you see any problems with them that day?" Originally, he had a 50% certainty that alchemist Yao was the person they were looking for, but the sudden exposure of Su Yan's alchemist identity. He was caught off guard, especially with the appearance of the Tianxin furnace, and he had not given birth to the same speculation as the cultivator outside. At that time, he was indeed envious of the Tianxin furnace. Although he did not have many advantages, it was purely a matter of luck, but the Dingdan furnace suddenly disappeared under the eyes of everyone. No one knew who made it, but because of this the means are so good, all the alchemists who are competing for the Tianxin furnace can only shut down and track down secretly. After a period of investigation to no avail, and the Tianxin furnace never appeared, everyone could only give up. Now that Tianxin furnace has appeared in Fengming City, I believe the news has already spread. With his strength, even with Wu Yuan, he can't control the spread of this news, so he is worried about what action he will do to this pair of nephews. It will attract the people behind, especially the mysterious master who took Tianxin furnace back then. Compared with the desire for Tianxin furnace and his further progress in alchemy, his life is more precious, and his life is gone, and those things are just castles in the air. Peng Xiu didn't show any impatience, he drank the spirit tea slowly. It's hard to say, is it possible that that person accepted the successor? You said that Su Yan was the original Su. Shen Xing's heart skipped a beat. This is impossible. At the beginning, he blew himself up in front of many people. The reason why the soul card has not shattered, it is speculated that it is likely that the thing protected his soul, and where did it go? The most likely thing is to find it. The new body is rebuilt. As for why after so many years, he vaguely heard a few words from the landlord, self-destruction is extremely harmful to the soul, even if there is that thing to protect it, it is likely to sleep for many years to repair the soul. Moreover, I don't know how many continents are attached to the spiritual world. It is troublesome to find them one by one. Going from the spiritual world to those lower continents also consumes a lot of monks. In addition, I don't know when the soul will wake up, so it is not as good as waiting in the spiritual world. As long as that person does not die, he will return to the spiritual world one day. The appearance of the blood slaughter monk decades ago, the alchemist who knew what happened in those years, immediately realized that it was likely that the person had returned. This investigation found that there was indeed an alchemist by his side, and where did the blood slaughter monk go? They all brought that alchemist by their side, especially when it was found out that the alchemist came from below, and there was even more reason to suspect that the alchemist named Gu Yao was the one who took the house and rebuilt it back then. When Ling Zhou sent people to Dongzhou, they didn't expect the blood slaughter monk to bring people into the Beibingqi clan, and after that they disappeared. They sent alchemists to various places to investigate, especially those alchemists with outstanding talents and different origins. Brother Peng said, what if he didn't take the house, but just trained an apprentice? The blood slaughter monk also knows the fate of that person, so it is impossible for him to be looking for a spiritual object to reshape the body all these years. When fighting for the Tianjin furnace thousands of years ago, the blood slaughter monk is absolutely capable of taking the Tianjin furnace away from under the nose of a group of alchemists. It's impossible, Shen Xing called out subconsciously, and after realizing his impulse, he coughed lightly and said, what kind of choice will Senior make? Everyone thinks so, that person will seize the house and rebuild it, and will not rely on others to reshape the body. Who among them can trust another cultivator wholeheartedly with such a heavy treasure? Aren't you afraid that someone will refine your soul and steal that thing? How about otherwise? Peng Xiu asked. He came over and just started doing things and didn't ask about other things. He was not an alchemist, and that thing was useless to him. He believed in his own speculation more and planned for the worst, which meant that he was likely to face the blood demon monk, which made him a little hesitant. There is no way out. Otherwise, how could he have killed that illustrious name back then? Shen Xing had some scruples and chose not to do it, which was the most beneficial to him. After finishing speaking, Xiu got up and walked out, leaving Shen Xing alone to hesitate. After a while, he decided to contact Ling Zhou and explain the situation here. Yes, it doesn't help either. Not to mention how Shen Xing communicated with the Ling Zhou side, Zhang Jingfeng, except for Gu Yao and the other three, was very busy. Candidates who are successfully competed will naturally gain huge benefits. Perhaps it is such huge benefits that stimulate each candidate to compete by all means. Those who are eliminated will have to hand over most of the industry to Zhang Jingfeng. As for the candidates who are eliminated, Zhang Jingfeng will naturally not show mercy to those who have beaten him. Their own camp, or keep a small part of the industry without interference, will not kill them all. Those people, after thinking about it, made the unanimous choice to join Zhang Jingfeng's camp, because when Zhang Jingfeng takes office, the rewards will be very rich, otherwise how could they fight each other to the death and death? To tell the truth, compared to Wu Yuan's disgraceful temperament, Zhang Jingfeng's mind is broad enough, and he can still treat them with a normal heart after he becomes a winner, so it is better to let go of his past grievances and do his best to help Zhang Jing. The wind really got into that position. Therefore, in a short period of time, Zhang Jingfeng's power has doubled. Correspondingly, Wu Yuan's mansion has added a few new batches of furniture, but the old ones have not been eliminated. Although he was so busy with spanking, Zhang Jingfeng still did not forget that Su Chen and Gu Yao were here. It was thanks to the two of them that he could make such a beautiful turnaround, so he arranged for the best guest house assigned by the general pavilion. It was given to Gu Yao and the three of them. In fact, they knew in their hearts that the chief pavilion was given to Su Chen through his hands. The chief pavilion also hoped to make friends with this amazing alchemist. The protection of this guest house has also been improved by a level. There are special Mahayana monks sitting in the town. Once there is a situation, the Mahayana monks will come at any time. On this day, Zhang Jingfeng hurried to the new guest house with a piece of news. Senior Su, Alchemist Yao, fellow Daoist Ye, something happened in Anzhou. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 466. Different from the first time they arrived in barren state, coupled with the large power of Dingxian Pavilion, Gu Yao and the others have already completed the map of the spiritual world, so now they know which one they are referring to when they hear the dark state. I heard Su Chen talk about the junction of the spiritual world and the demon world. It can be said to be an expanded version of the death demon domain. Because it is full of infiltrated demonic energy, it is dark everywhere, so the spiritual world calls that place dark state. In fact, Guyao still has a guess in his heart. Is it related to the situation on the Anzhou side when Master Liao Su fell into the devil's way? Therefore, seniors rarely talk about the situation in Anzhou. What happened to the dark state? Is it related to your next assessment mission? Zhang Jingfeng poured a mouthful of spirit tea and said, yes, because of the accident in Anzhou, the General Pavilion has adjusted the assessment tasks for the next stage. We must rush to the past. Before this assessment, the accident from the dark state was passed on, but the General Pavilion suppressed it first, and now Feng Zhou is estimated to be aware of the high-level forces of the major forces. This time the accident must be traced back to the source. It should be time. It's not too short, probably decades, but it didn't get much attention at first until it broke out this time. The dark state is mostly dominated by demons, and it is more chaotic, so it is difficult to pay attention to the disappearance of monks. In the past few decades, hundreds of thousands of monks have disappeared without a trace, until the only son of the sect master of the Maguang sect disappeared, and the sect master personally traced it. Only to find that it is unusual, but the strange thing is that the young sect master of Mo Guangzong suddenly came back, and he has no memory of the experience of his disappearance during the period of time. Just 1 month after the young sect master returned to the Maguang sect, the Maguang sect suddenly died overnight, including the young sect master, and the corpse remained at the scene. Those demon cultivators died in a tragic state, and the incident had happened too suddenly and strangely, and other forces had to pay attention. This investigation, the tragedy of Mo Guangzong, is not the first. Guyao couldn't help but touched his arm when he heard it. Goosebumps came out. Really all dead overnight. Qi Changjai hugged Guyao's shoulder. Zhang Jingfeng almost laughed when he saw this, nodded and said, it is true that the door was destroyed overnight. Mo Guangzong is a second-rate section. If you want to destroy a second-rate sect, even if a calamity master is dispatched, it is impossible to do it silently, so that other forces can't find it, so the matter can only start from the inside, and the biggest suspect is the missing and returning young sect master, but the young sect master is also dead. Guyao Guang listened to these descriptions, and also felt that the young sect master was the most suspicious. Could it be that he was used and then killed him? He knew that Zhang Jingfeng was asking for their opinions on these matters. If he wanted to go to Anzhou with Zhang Jingfeng, he would definitely take a risk. Even a second-rate sect was quietly wiped out. Into the whirlpool, little life cannot be guaranteed. Guyao looked at Qi Changjai. Do you want to go? Withdrawal at this time, is it too immoral for Zhang Jingfeng? In the future, when they go to Lingzhou, they must use the power of Zhang Jingfeng. This is the initial agreement. Guyao was inclined to go, but before he could figure it out, Su Chen suddenly said, go. Let's go together. Guyao and Qi Changjai were surprised. Su Chen rarely publishes on these matters. The two of them looked at each other, nodded and said, let's listen to the uncle, just make some preparations during this time, and then set off with Zhang Xiao. Zhang Jingfeng said, okay, thank you. Whatever you need, just tell Zhang Guard to do it. He is also worried that Guyao is unwilling to intervene in this matter because Anzhou is too dangerous. This is understandable to anyone, so he did not intend to hide what he knew about Anzhou from the beginning. Situation, tell them honestly, no matter what decision they do. Yes, you will accept it? Now that Guyao and the others are willing to join, Zhang Jingfeng is extremely happy. Alchemy masters are especially important in that kind of place. With Senior Su and Guyao present, the possibility of them going to the dark state to complete the mission is greatly increased. Zhang Jingfeng was about to leave after speaking. Time was short, and he had to make a lot of preparations. Before leaving, he said that he would collect as much information as possible from the Anzhou side and send it over to increase Guyao and the others' understanding of Anzhou, because he was very knowing the origins of Guyao and Qi Changjai. They have never been in contact with the place in Anzhou. As soon as Zhang Jingfeng left, Gu Yao and the three of them got busy too. Fortunately, they had experienced the demon realm of death, so they wouldn't be smeared at that kind of place, but he and Qi Changjai also knew very well that the people on the Anzhou side, the danger is much higher than that of death demon, and there are many things and rings that will threaten them. Senior, can the demon-devouring plant still function in the dark state? Gu Yao worried. Su Chen thought about it and said, whether it's useful or not, let's prepare first. That thing has a very good effect of expelling demonic energy. Zhang Jingfeng's information was also quickly sent by Zhang Guard. He is the person who knows Gu Yao and them the most except Zhang Jingfeng, so he has been running on both sides, and Gu Yao also gave him a letter with Su Chen discussed the list together, and the items on it should be completed as soon as possible. It would be better if they could get special products from Anzhou. Zhang Huiwei naturally had nothing to do with it. A month passed quickly. During this period, many forces and cultivators came to ask for pills. Su Chen, who had always been lazy, actually accepted pills. Of course, the reward would not be low. Going to Anzhou, there are many places for Hua Lingxi. Of course, I have to take the opportunity to make him a fortune. The three of Gu Yao and Zhang Jingfeng boarded the huge aircraft together. They also saw Zhang Jingfeng's second grandfather, Zhang Huai, again. Zhang Huai was very enthusiastic about the three, and he was very happy that the three agreed to go to Anzhou together. Zhang Jingfeng didn't meet with Gu Yao and the others until the time of departure. The newly received industry and manpower had to be integrated, and preparations for going to Anzhou had to be prepared. Alchemy Yao doesn't know, the two apprentices of Alchemy Shen have already left and returned to Lingzhou. I heard that they are going back to participate in the alchemy competition, while alchemist Shen and Wu Yuan will go to Anzhou with Wu Yuan. It has regained some popularity, because it means that the relationship between Wu Yuan and Lingzhou is relatively strong. To be honest, Zhang Jingfeng doesn't think so. Shen Xing must have his own plans to go to Anzhou, so this is also a reminder to Gu Yao and the others to be careful about Shen Xing and Wu Yuan. What about the other alchemists? Gu Yao asked curiously. Zhang Jingfeng was delighted. The original surnamed Wu blamed his failure on Master Wei, and wanted to unilaterally tear up their agreement. Master Wei also sent a message to us through people, wanting to come back. He sneered. He thought we didn't know the surnamed Wu's attitude towards him, and wanted us to mistakenly think that he really regretted it. I didn't reply immediately, so I kept him in the dark. As soon as the incident happened in Anzhou, Wu Yuan he immediately retracted the forward, and this guy ran back again, as if nothing had happened with him. Alchemy Kui also went. Her disciple asked Gao Tian to take him back to Lingzhou. Maybe this is the piece of meat hanging in front of Alchemy Wei. Zhang Jingfeng thought that this group of people was even more dangerous than the local ones in Anzhou, so when he set off, he explained to his own people that Wu Yuan's side was the focus of their prevention, but they couldn't fall for it at this juncture. He didn't want to repeat it. Wu Yuan's showy operation. Gu Yao said in surprise, so saying that really gives Huang Ruyu the opportunity to go to Lingzhou, isn't this what their master and apprentice are looking forward to the most? Su Chen sneered from the side, it's not easy to go to Lingzhou, but after going there, you can't help yourself. Who is the wolf's nest or the blessing's nest? Go who knows. Zhang Jingfeng also agreed. He felt that the eyes of Wu Yuan and Shen Xing were to appease people's hearts. Before Wu Yuan's loss to Zhang Jingfeng had a great impact on him, many people were eager to move, secretly talking to Zhang Jingfeng. There are many Feng contacts, but as soon as the situation came out, the limelight turned again. On another aircraft that was also flying towards the dark state and set off first, Wu Yuan and Shen Xing both looked out with gloomy faces. I received the news that the surnamed Zhang and the others also came out, and the three guys came along with them. Humph, it's better to come here, stay in Fengming City and can't do anything, but it will be different when they come out, especially a place like Anzhou. Wu Yuan's face was full of ill will, full of bloodthirsty aura, and it happened to settle them together with the surname Zhang, which was much more convenient than in Fengming City. This is where he excels. Shen Xing's eyes were obscure. It doesn't matter if I came out, it didn't disappoint me. The dark state is adjacent to Florida. Wu Yuan said in surprise, what does alchemist Shen mean by this? I don't understand why he mentioned that Florida, Anzhou, and Florida are adjacent to each other. Isn't it something that the entire spiritual world knows about? To be honest, people with such a temperament have always kept a distance from the bald donkeys in Florida, and are the most impatient to contact them. Shen Xing showed a smile that Wu Yuan couldn't understand. When the time comes, Wu Xiao will naturally understand. Fozhu, that is the hometown of the blood slaughter monk. Although the blood slaughter monk betrayed the Buddhist sect, as far as they know, the demon monk still has feelings for the state. Beijing is his route, so he is likely to hide in the vicinity of Florida. No matter whether the surnamed Yao was a disciple who took the house or taught him, when he arrived in Anzhou, could this demon monk be able to hold back from showing up? As long as he appears, it can confirm the origin of the three people. Of course, if he doesn't show up and the three of them have nothing to do with him, the Anzhou area can also fish in muddy waters. He is very jealous of Tianxin furnace and the alchemy skills of the pair of nephews. He doesn't think his talent is bad, but it was because they felt that they had better alchemy techniques, just like the secret techniques they used to produce the best alchemy. The two aircraft and other personnel arrived at the dark state at about the same time. Because of the expert guards, there was no trouble along the way. Young Master Wu, it's not good, the three Yao Donji didn't get off the aircraft, they probably left halfway. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 467. The thunder robbery in the air fell down, and the ancestor of the Zhang family, who was protecting the law outside, was amazed. Congratulations to fellow Daoist Su for having such two outstanding nephews and nephews. Sooner or later, their names will spread throughout the spiritual world. Although he didn't come to the scene before, he has been paying attention to it, because it also involves the interests of the entire Zhang family, so he also feels that Jingfeng is lucky this time. Su Chen put his hands behind his back, and was extremely proud, but he kept a calm smile on his face. They are still young, Senior Zhang must not boast in front of them, lest they get too complacent. Old Ancestor Zhang glanced at Su Chen speechlessly. No wonder Jingfeng said that this Master Su Dan had a different temperament. At his age, he couldn't hear that he was showing off naked in front of his old man, and he was a little stuck. Zhang Jingfeng is the younger generation he is optimistic about, but in the talent of cultivation, the gap with these two little friends is not ordinary. How did he know that compared to the old man, his age really couldn't compare to Su Chen? After Gu Yao and Qi Changjai left the island, their cultivation bases were infinitely approaching to merge. After a period of precipitation in Fengzhou, they were thinking about breaking through the calamity. At this time, Yu Hao Zhang Jingfeng came to invite them to Anzhou. They settled this matter with Zhang Jingfeng in private, because they needed Zhang Jingfeng to cover for them, and Zhang Jingfeng even asked the ancestors of the Zhang family to protect the law for them. In fact, not long after the aircraft left Fengzhou, the three of them left quietly, and did not show up for a while, and the monks on the aircraft did not doubt their movements. It is very normal for monks. After the three of them reunited with the ancestors of the Zhang family, the location of the calamity was also provided by the ancestors. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai only needed to prepare for the calamity with all their hearts. This time, Gu Yao finally fulfilled his wish, caught up with Qi Changjai's cultivation progress, and could personally refine the medicinal pills needed for Qi Changjai's breakthrough. These medicinal pills were also prepared in Fengming City. The two of them successfully survived the catastrophe one after the other, pushing their cultivation to the fusion stage. It wasn't that the monks who were not disturbed by the heavenly robbery wanted to come to watch or even take advantage of the fire, but once they were shocked by the Mahayana monks who were protecting the law, the two were surrounded by layers of formations, and the strange mist filled the air. With a higher cultivation base than old ancestor Zhang, why would he be interested in the heavenly tribulation, too lazy to come and watch? Half a year later, a few cultivators sat together on an aircraft headed to the dark state to discuss. Such an aircraft is not conspicuous, because the changes in Anzhou have spread throughout the spiritual world, and many forces have sent monks to Anzhou. Everyone knows that if the Anzhou is not guaranteed, it will endanger the entire spiritual world. There are some big sect forces and bigwigs who came out to call on the monks in the entire spiritual world. Therefore, for a period of time, in the area leading to Anzhou, you can often see aircraft passing by at a high speed in the air, giving people an illusion, as if the monks from the entire spiritual world came to Anzhou during this time. If you want to say that Anzhou is now, the most important thing is the Buddhist section. Buddhist cultivators specialize in restraining those evil demons and crooked ways. Otherwise, where would Florida and Anzhou become neighbors? Although some information cannot be tested, but it is said that when the Buddhist sect first established the mountain gate, he chose the side of the passage between the spiritual world and the demon world, which is now the location of Florida. Yes, we can live in peace in the spiritual world, and Florida can be said to be the most important contributor. It's not a popular saying in Buddhism. It's a pity that if I don't go to hell, whoever goes to will go to hell. It's a pity that there is such a rebellion as the blood-slaughtering monk, which makes Buddhism also get some stigma. Actually, what does this have to do with Buddhism? Which sect will not have a few scoundrels and scumbags? It's just that the name of the blood-slaughter monk has gotten a little louder. If it wasn't for his reappearance in Dongzhou, maybe many monks do not know this character. Except for the Buddhist cultivator, I heard that this time Dingxian Pavilion and Lingzhou have made a lot of reputation in Anzhou. Lingzhou will not talk about it. The help is self-evident, but I didn't expect Dingxian Pavilion to have a very good reputation among the monks. I know about this. Dingxian Pavilion has launched a new thing that they have cultivated, called Devil Devouring Plant. I heard that although it is a bit ugly, it is very useful, and it does not need to consume medicine pills often, so it is very popular among the monks. It's popular, I really don't know which genius cultivator made it. Haha, we won't know when we get to the dark state. Listening to what you said, when we arrive in the dark state, we must hurry up and get a demon devourer to defend ourselves, haha. Su Chen and Gu Yao and Qi Changjai were also in the ranks of Gan Das Han, sharing their hearsay with others. Needless to say, the atmosphere was very warm. It seemed that their group went to Anzhou, as if they were watching a big play. Seriously. Su Chen chatted with them the most. When they arrived in Anzhou, Su Chen called everyone a brother. We have friends coming to pick them up, and there is a chance to meet again. By the way, our friends are in the Dingxian Pavilion you said, and they are the ones who sell the Devil's Devourer. If you can't buy the Devil's Devourer, I will open the back door for you. Su Chen said in a big way. Really? That's great, my brother thanked Brother Su first. Here the other monks were very surprised. They didn't expect that the friends they met on the way were related to Dingxian Pavilion. There is one more way, there is no certain time when you will beg someone. It's easy to say, Su Chen said goodbye with a smile, and turned around with Gu Yao and Qi Changjai, leaving a back view of the monks. Those cultivators still stayed where they were and sighed with emotion. I really didn't expect Senior Su to be so approachable, without any pretense of seniors. It would have been better if I met earlier. Senior Su guided me about my questions about my practice, and I felt suddenly enlightened. Let's go. Those who can defect to Dingxian Pavilion are definitely not ordinary people. It's our luck to be able to go with us. It's smooth to come here. Let's find a place to live first, and then inquire about the current situation here. When Gu Yao and the others entered the Anzhou boundary, They sent a message to Zhang Jingfeng, and Zhang Jingfeng sent Zhang guards out to meet them. Zhang Huiwei soon saw the three figures and was very happy. He originally thought that the temporary departure of the three of Guyao would make Zhang Xiao passive, but he did not expect that in addition to leaving a pile of medicinal pills, Guyao and the others also gave Zhang Xiao a good thing was left, and now this devil-devouring strain has a good market in Anzhou, even with the reputation of Dingxian Pavilion and Zhang Xiao. You are finally here. Zhang Xiao has been looking forward to you for a long time. Zhang Jingfeng explained that Guyao and the others had left in the middle of the way after arriving in Anzhou. They didn't do anything specifically, and the return date was uncertain, but Zhang Huiwei knew it, thinking about it. Guyao and Qi Changjai have successfully survived the calamity. They looked at them and smiled. I'll be your senior in the future. Zhang Huiwei was full of emotion in his heart. When he first saw them, he was still their senior. As a result, it was only a few years after he turned around, and the two ran ahead of him. It was time for him to change his name to senior. Guyao also smiled. Fortunately, there are Uncle Shi and old ancestor Zhang to protect us, so we can prepare with confidence. I don't think Zhang Guard can use it. How long will it progress? Zhang Huiwei thought about it, and said with a loud laugh, to Yao Danshiji, I will definitely work hard. After he arrived at Zhang Xiao's side, Zhang Xiao did not treat him badly, nor did he benefit a lot compared with before. His progress in the past few decades has been much faster. While Zhang Huiwei showed them the way, he told them about the current situation here. The city where they are currently is considered to be in relatively good condition, but when Guyao and the others walked in, they still felt that they were different from other states. The sky was gray, and the external environment is even worse, because there is a big moat to isolate it. Because of this, the entry fee here is higher than other cities, and the spirit stones handed in are used to maintain the operation of the defense formation. By the way, there is something Zhang Xiao is more worried about, but it may be a good thing. Zhang Huiwei remembered something. What's the matter? Qi Changjai asked. Zhang Huiwei replied, after the Devil's Devourer was launched, people kept coming to inquire about the people who cultivated the Devil's Devourer, and some wanted to share a piece of the pie with Zhang Xiao. These Zhang Xiao could handle it, but there was one sword cultivator who was rather strange. When he opened his mouth, he asked to see the person who cultivated the devil-devouring plant, and he refused to leave unless he saw anyone. Originally, Zhang Xiao suspected that he had ulterior motives like the others, but he took out a devil-devouring plant. Zhang Xiao looked at it. After that, I didn't drive him away, only said that Yao Danji, you have something to leave for a while, and the return date is uncertain. After that, the sword cultivator would come over every once in a while and make the same request as soon as he came, and then he would leave when he couldn't see anyone for a while. Guyao and Qi Changjai glanced at each other, and together they guessed the probable identity of the person. Su Chen also clapped his hands and said, is that silly boy surnamed Yan? He didn't foolishly reveal your identities, right? Zhang Huiwei was shocked and said, it really is an old acquaintance of the seniors, that Jiangziu is indeed surnamed Yan and his name is Yuanjing. Seniors, rest assured, this Jiangziu's mouth is like a sawmouth cord. He will not say anything. He will come once a month, and according to his previous rules, he should come again in a few days. Guyao was overjoyed. Very good, we want to see him too. He has been in Anzhou? Is his condition okay? When I saw Yan Yuanjing, I mainly asked about the situation of my former friends and relatives, and I didn't know when Yan Yuanjing came to the spiritual world. Qi Changjai also had a smile in his eyes. Yan Yuanjing was also a friend he recognized. Although this guy's temperament was a little colder, it was because of his temperament that he came to Zhang Jingfeng every once in a while to guard people. Warm them up. Zhang Huiwei said, Yao Danji doesn't know anything. This Yan Jiangziu has a lot of history, because he is the only disciple admitted by the sword demon, and the senior sword demon himself admitted it, so there are not many people in Anzhou who dare to think beyond their means. Pick the Scorpion Yan Jiangziu. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 468. Sword Demon. Guyao and Qi Changjai couldn't help digging their ears. Isn't this sword demon the senior crazy sword demon? Crazy sword demon, Su Chen couldn't help but say. Zhang Huiwei was even more shocked to hear what they said. Could it be that Senior Su knows Senior Sword Demon? Senior Sword Demon is indeed called the Crazy Sword Demon, and some people say that he is an idiot sword demon. This recovered disciple seems to have a very similar personality to the senior. For this reason, many sword cultivators have gone to Anzhou. Maybe they want to try their luck, maybe they can also make Senior Sword Demon take a fancy to them. Disciple. The most unexpected thing is that a sword cultivator of the sword demon will actually accept a sword cultivator of the Dao cultivator. This is something that both the cultivator and the cultivator did not expect, and attracted many sword cultivators to challenge fellow Daoist Yan. Maybe they feel that as long as they defeat with Dao Yan, you can enter the eyes of Senior Sword Demon. Su Chen and the others laughed. Those guys were daydreaming, right? Do you really think that the sword demon accepted Yan Yuanjing as a disciple by accident? Guyao explained with a smile, Senior and Yan Daoxian have long been forged as a master and apprentice. If Yan Dao can meet with Senior, we should celebrate him. Zhang Huiwei didn't know about the past, but after hearing it, he felt it made sense. Accepting apprentices is definitely not that simple. They are a demon cultivator and a Taoist cultivator, but the swordsmanship can be seen from the same vein. After the three of Guyao and Zhang Jingfeng met, it was a lot of fun again. With the three of them joining, Zhang Jingfeng was even more confident. Zhang Huiwei took them all the way in, and naturally they also caught the eyes of others, and someone quickly reported to Wu Yuan. Wu Yuan was shocked. You read that right? Yao and Yan next to him have become integrated cultivators. Because he was too shocked, Wu Yuan's voice was raised and became a bit sharp. My subordinates feel that their power is much deeper than when they were in Fengming City, and they are the same as the integrated monks who are in contact with them, so the subordinates dare to guess. Wu Yuan's face twisted. Okay, no wonder no one has been seen for the past 6 months. It turned out to be running out to break through the tribulation. When did it become so easy to combine the catastrophe like eating and drinking? These two people said that they had passed the calamity, and they all survived well, so why didn't they get smashed into ashes by the thunder tribulation? The subordinates don't know how to respond. This kind of thing is easy, and difficult. It's hard to say. It's a blessing to be able to breathe a sigh of relief. Wu Yuan was still angrily scolding, my brain is broken, I have become a cultivator, why did I run back to Jiang's side? By the way, that Jiangziu surnamed Yan ran to Jiang's side recently. Give it to me. Keep an eye on who he is waiting for. He was worried that the 3 people Guyao had to wait for would be worse for him. He had also tried to win over the sword cultivator, who was behind the sword demon senior surnamed Yan. Now, this person still maintains a cold face, but there is no response, and finally he opened his mouth and spit out the word go away when he was impatient. This can make Wu Yuan so angry that he is only a sword cultivator. If it wasn't for the famous sword demon behind him, he would have liked this guy. Yes, young Master Wu. Shen Xing was okay. When Kui Xian learned of her 2 thorns in her eyes, she slipped out and came back after a calamity. The cultivation base is pressing him, and now even the cultivation base is not much worse. She truly felt the pressure and humiliation that her disciples felt when they faced Guyao from Giwen Pavilion and Alchemist Yao from Fengming City. They were so powerless to fight, and now she could only count on Ruyu entering Lingyun Tower. I can fight for a breath later, but not now, and one day I will be able to suppress these 2 people. This is not impossible. Some genius cultivators progress very fast in the early stage, but after reaching a certain stage, Sometimes they can't make progress for thousands of years after a card, and gradually become silent. Zhang Jingfeng specially stopped what he was doing and accompanied Su Chen and the others for a whole day. I was alarmed when Daoist Yan came over for the first time because Yan Yuanjing directly stated that he wanted to see the owner of the demon-devouring plant. Zhang Jingfeng focused on everything about Gu Yao, so after receiving the report from his subordinates I rushed over immediately. At that time, fellow Daoist Yan took out a demon-devouring plant, and at first glance I saw that it was different from what we sold, and I guessed that it was probably an old acquaintance from the same place. As alchemist Yao and Yu. But I couldn't be sure of his identity, so I could only persuade him politely. At the beginning, Gu Yao gave him the origin and cultivation method of the demon-devouring plant. It was something he made before, but he made some adjustments on the original basis, so he has a direction for the origin of Yan Yuanjing. Gu Yao couldn't help but be amused. You definitely didn't expect him to do that, and every time he kept guarding people here without saying a word. The two sides couldn't be sure of each other's credibility, so they both kept tight-lipped about Gu Yao and the others. I know it all, but I won't say anything. Zhang Jingfeng also laughed. If he hadn't guessed that the surnamed Yan might be a friend of Gu Yao and the others, and later learned that he was a disciple recognized by the sword demon, he was afraid of his identity, so he was attracted to his temperament. I must have called him a big fool. I have never seen such a stubborn person. Zhang Jingfeng still sent Zhang Huwei to Gu Yao and the three of them. If there is anything they don't understand or need to do, they will be handed over to Zhang Huwei. Everyone knows that Zhang Huwei is his confidant and will not embarrass him. Although Zhang Jingfeng currently has the advantage in terms of the devil's strain, in terms of medicinal herbs, because of the lack of Su Chen and Gu Yao in the past 6 months, even though they have kept some medicinal herbs, they are still far behind Wu. On the source side, there are even some problems with the supply of alchemy resources. But now that Gu Yao and the others are here, Zhang Jingfeng didn't urge them to do anything. It's not too late to get acquainted with the environment here. Besides, he thinks that Gu Yao and Qi Changjai will come after the calamity and need time to consolidate their cultivation. Gu Yao felt that he was in a good state. After entering the fusion period, his foundation did not appear to be unstable, so he and Su Chen entered the material room specially set up by Zhang Jingfeng, where a variety of items produced in Anzhou were collected. Although Zhang Jingfeng and Zhang Weiwei didn't say anything, Gu Yao and the others heard it clearly all the way. At present, almost all the medicinal pills in the field of exorcism are monopolized by the alchemists in Lingzhou. They have better medicines there. Pill recipes can make better medicinal pills. Gradually, the various forces in the dark state are also willing to send the best materials to them. At present, what can be collected here will be exchanged with the devil-devouring strain. But if people really understand the cultivation method of demon-devouring plants, this advantage will be lost. Gu Yao thought of the exorcism pill they had researched when they were in Wanluo continent, but here, the effect of this pill is too weak, so he wanted to improve on this basis. At the beginning, Su Chen was the whole process. Participating in, this time with the physical body, of course, will not miss it. Qi Changjai was left outside by Gu Yao, and at this moment, Yan Yuanjing came again. Yan Yuanjing is still the same, except that his breath is deeper than before, and his eyes are sharper, but he is facing Qi Changjai. It was an unfamiliar face, but at a glance, Yan Yuanjing knew that he was Qi Changjai, because the sword intent on his body was exactly the same, except for Qi Changjai, who didn't think of him as a second person. Jianqiu recognizes people is so unique. Yan Yuanjing's eyes softened for a moment. Sure enough, it's you, I read it right. Where is Master Gu? Qi Changjai replied, as soon as we arrived, he plunged into the research of medicinal herbs. With our 2 uncles with him, I don't have to worry. Before they knew it, Su Chen was positioned as their uncle. Yan Yuanjing is fine. I didn't see you. I thought you were being controlled by someone. Later, when I found out that there was a genius Yao Donji and a fellow deist Ye beside Zhang Jingfeng, I guessed that it was probably you, but I had to meet them. Only you can be sure. Qi Changjai, thank you. He knew that Yan Yuanjing cared about them, otherwise, with his personality, he would probably pat his and leave when he didn't find anyone for the first time, instead of coming over and guarding him again and again. Yan Yuanjing's eyes suddenly heated up. Let's go out to fight. Okay. So the two of them went out of the city one after the other. The monks who witnessed the scene were all shocked, because in their eyes, they only saw Yan Yuanjing and Qi Changjai standing face to face. All with a straight face, said nothing, and then ran away suddenly. How is this going? He also went to report the letter and led Qi Changjai out of the shop. Seeing that the two of them were gone, he turned and ran back to report the letter, because he received a voice transmission from Qi Changjai, and asked him to tell alchemist Yao that he would go out of the city to discuss with his old friend. On the other hand, Wu Yuan's subordinates hurried back to report the situation when they discovered the situation, and sent someone to follow them to see what the two of them were going to do. What Wu Yuan didn't want to see happened. He didn't expect that this cultivator surnamed Ye was actually related to Yan Yuanjing, so that such a cold-hearted sword cultivator Yan Yuanjing could go back and forth again and again. Come here to find someone, can this relationship be thin? Didn't you find out where this surnamed Yan came from? The subordinate dripped sweat. Yan Jiangzi's situation has been smashed up by many swordsmen outside, only to find out that he appeared next to the sword demon at first, and the sword demon announced that he was his disciple. Yan Yuanjing and Qi Changjai were also exchanging information on the way out of the city one after the other, because they suspected that Gu Yao and Qi Changjai used a pseudonym, so Yan Yuanjing did not reveal anything about them. If you don't say anything, those people will naturally leave when they are bored. I couldn't say a few words about those things, so Qi Changjai only picked up the important things and said, our deeds in Huangzhou and Dongzhou were watched by the alchemists in Lingzhou, and we had to hide our deeds. In other words, their enemy is Lingzhou. It might have been a shock to hear such a situation, but Yan Yuanjing didn't even move his eyebrows, and he told his own experience, which was very simple. I was searched by Master when I first arrived in the spiritual world, because Master's inheritance has left a mark on me, and I have never told anyone about my origins. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 469. If it wasn't for Qi Changjai to send someone a letter to Gu Yao, maybe he would have to stay inside until he came out, and then he would know that Qi Changjai ran out with others. On the other hand, Su Chen heard that the sender of the letter said that Senior Ye and Yan Jiangzi ran away, and they were happy beside him. Why does this sound so ambiguous? It seems that Gu Yao, your man, ran away with another man. Gu Yao glared at Su Chen angrily, thanking the person who delivered the letter. There are only two people left. Su Chen hasn't laughed enough yet. He poked Gu Yao's arm and said happily, aren't you worried about that guy? Didn't look at him. As soon as he saw the surnamed Yan, he ran away without telling you in person. He was eager for the surnamed Yan to run over. Gu Yao said helplessly, what nonsense is the senior talking about? What kind of nonsense is Big Brother Ye? The senior still doesn't know? By revealing his identity, Brother Ye has fewer opportunities to even do it. This time, Deist Yan comes here, and he can finally let Brother Ye find his opponent and have fun. By the way, senior, is there any good place to practice swords in the spiritual world? Su Chen glared at the ambitious guy and said, yes, of course, but do you have time to pass now? Gu Yao shrugged, just wait until the busy here is done. He felt that he should also do something for Qi Changjai. He had Su Chen, a senior in the alchemy technique, who could communicate and learn from each other, but Qi Changjai could only practice swordsmanship alone. He knew very well that when he was in Wanluo continent, he was always with Yan Yu and Jing played against each other, which was also very inspiring to him. Su Chen added, the two of them went out of the city to discuss, and the identity of Qi Changjai can't be preserved. Gu Yao nodded, I know, but it's still very easy to find out his identity. It will be a result sooner or later, but it can't be tied down because of it. Su Chen also knew about this situation, but at present they were not completely at a disadvantage. The appearance of the sword demon this time surprised him. When he left the spiritual world, he hadn't heard of the name of the sword demon. It appeared after he left. Although he became famous later than the other bigwigs, they didn't know the name of the sword demon until they came here. Forcing the blood slaughter monk of the year. Now it is revealed that Qi Changjai and Gu Yao have a weak relationship with sword demon's disciples, which is very beneficial to both of them. This is an unexpected shock. At the same time, Yan Yu and Jing and Qi Changjai, who had just left the city, also found that there were people behind them, and it was difficult to find out that there was a lot of confusion in the city. Yan Yu and Jing glanced at the back, is it still mine? Do you want to solve it? Yan Yu and Jing is ruthless, and if he dares to follow him, he will bear the consequences. Qi Changjai raised his eyebrows slightly, most of them are following me, no need, the identities of me and Gu Yao will be exposed sooner or later. Yan Yu and Jing said, you are causing a lot of trouble. Qi Changjai smiled, it's very big, maybe it will fight against the forces in the entire Lingzhou. Yan Yu and Jing was indifferent, as if it wasn't a big deal at all, they are inferior to the ancient alchemist. Qi Changjai laughed heartily after hearing this, and didn't mean to refute modesty at all. After the two were far away from the city, they found an open space, and they fought ping-pong-pong. Although Yan Yu and Jing was not able to refine his cultivation, but after Qi Changjai pressed his cultivation to the same level as him, he had a great time playing. Because Yan Yu and Jing received a lot of guidance and training from his master after he came to the spiritual world, his progress in swordsmanship and cultivation was very amazing, so in a short period of time, his cultivation increased by a large step, and he entered the refinement stage. In the years since Qi Changjai left the barren state, because of some scruples, he never let go of his swordsmanship. The fighting spirit was inspired by Yan Yu and Jing, and he felt extremely happy. The two fought hotly, attracting more and more cultivators. Apart from the ones who followed Qi Changjai at first, they came later towards Yan Yu and Jing. Yan Yu and Jing was often challenged by other sword cultivators during this period. So Jianqiu was very familiar with his sword qi, and as soon as he saw the situation in the distance in the sky, he knew that Yan Yu and Jing was fighting someone again. Who is this time, who can't help but challenge that lunatic? After so many years, no one can see clearly, and only such lunatics can enter the eyes of the sword demon. Haha, you always have to let others have some dreams. Besides, maybe it's a new guy who doesn't understand the situation. You'll know when you have suffered enough in the hands of fellow Daoist Yan. Yes, we can't just let us suffer, but also let others try, right, I understand, haha. Huh? That guy is really good. Now he seems to be on a par with that guy from Yan Yu and Jing. Does anyone know where he came from? I haven't seen it before, you guys say, if someone really defeated Yan Yu and Jing the stinky guy this time, what would the result be? It's impossible, unless he is above fellow Daoist Yan, this is firm. The brainless fan on Yan Yu and Jing's side. I said what if it turned out like this? Dream will be faster. Others were arguing endlessly, but the cultivator who followed Qi Changjai looked more and more frightened, and sent a message back. If it wasn't for the importance they attached to Yan Yu and Jing, they wouldn't care much about this cultivator following Yao Danqi unless he was also an alchemist. Now he finds out that he is a lay sword cultivator who can compete with Yan Yu and Jing. This fact is very shocking. This cultivator knows that Wu Xiao suspects that these three people are related to the two cultivators who appeared next to the blood slaughter monk in Dongzhou. The relationship can now be fully confirmed that the surnamed Ye and alchemist Yao are the same Qi Changjai and alchemist Gu. Wu Yuan, who received the summons, stood up abruptly. Is it really those two people? He turned around and went to Shen Xing. He knew that Shen Xing was very concerned about this matter, which was also very beneficial to him. I believed that this discovery would make the alchemists in Lingzhou increase their cooperation with him, or their goal would be consistent. Shen Xing's pupils shrank suddenly. That cultivator Ye is Qi Changjai, a lightning sword cultivator. There can be no mistake. I don't believe that there are so many coincidences in this world. Yu Hao is a sword cultivator of the Thunder system, and there is a genius alchemist next to the sword cultivator of the Thunder system, and the two are still inseparable. Possible. There was a bang behind them, and it was Kui Xian, who had just entered the door. Hearing the shocking news, he was so shocked that the in his hand fell. Alchemy Yao is Gu Yao who was in Giwen Pavilion, Kui Xian asked sharply like this before. Wu Yuan remembered that Kui Xian and her apprentice were expelled by the pavilion master of Giwen Pavilion because of an alchemist named Gu Yao. No wonder she couldn't accept it. At present, it is very possible. As I said, there are not so many coincidences in the world. Wu Yuan became more and more certain. I just found it unbelievable. When I was fighting against Huang Ruyu, it was only in the early stage of illusory refinement. They were still cultivators of the virtual world. The two had already entered the fusion stage. At the beginning, the alchemy technique was only slightly higher than Huang Ruyu, but now even the master Kui Xian has become his defeat. It's impossible. Kui Xian was even more excited. Both Wu Yuan and Shen Xing despised Kui Xian. It was clear that Kui Xian couldn't accept such a fact in his heart, so he desperately denied it, but such denial had nothing to do with it. To say that Shen Xing himself is not feeling well, but now what is called Gu Yao is the man who took the house and rebuilt it, and it makes sense why his cultivation base and alchemy technique have improved so quickly, but he is just going back to the previous road. Once again, with such a treasure on his body, he wouldn't be too far behind if he changed it. Shen Xing suddenly thought of something, that Lei Jiangxiu is the Taoist companion of this alchemist named Gu Yao. Wu Yuan said that the news that came back from the wasteland is not like this. Is there something wrong? Shen Xing had a headache. He just felt that Gu Yao was the one who took the house and rebuilt it, but according to that person's temperament, how could it be possible to find a stupefied boy down there to be a Taoist companion, not to mention where would he put the blood demon monk in this way? When they appeared in Dongzhou, the blood-slaughtered demon monk took the two with him. If that thunder swordsman was really that person's Taoist companion, he would dare to say that the thunder swordsman would be taken by him as soon as he appeared. Blood slaughter monk was killed. Or is the person named Su Yan the one who took the house and rebuilt it? But when he was in Dongzhou, this person clearly didn't show up, or was it really like what Senior Peng said, he gathered the best spiritual materials to reshape his body? The two left Kui Xian aside and talked to themselves. Kui Xian also realized that his denial was meaningless. Now there is a high probability that Yao alchemist is the ancient alchemist. Kui Xian thought of what happened to their master and apprentice. Are you going to deal with him? Count me in. I, Kui Xian, will never die with him. Kui Xian knew very well that her apprentice Ruyu's inner demon was only temporarily suppressed, but with Gu Yao in one day, this inner demon could not be completely eliminated. Now the surnamed Yao is Gu Yao. The teacher was promoted to a third-grade alchemist, and it was conceivable that as long as he was alive, sooner or later, he became a figure their master and apprentice needed to look up to, then her apprentice's life would be ruined by this person. Ruyu is her only disciple, and her relationship is deeper than that of a mother and daughter by blood. Gu Yao ruined Ruyu. How can she bear the surname Gu Yao Xiaoao? Wu Yuan and Shen Xing glanced at each other. They didn't like Kui Xian at all, all they thought about was how to use her. You must know that there are 3 integrated cultivators over there. How can Kui Xian be able to stay with each other forever? So Wu Yuan comforted Kui Xian with his mouth, but she was calm on the surface, but hidden in her eyes were crazy eyes. The battle outside the city continued, and the news that Yan Yuanjing and an unfamiliar sword cultivator were on a par with each other spread farther and farther, attracting more and more cultivators to watch the battle. This includes cultivator Peng, who knew his identity. His eyesight is better than most cultivators watching the battle. At a glance, he can see that Qi Changjai has pressed his cultivation to the same level as Yan Yuanjing. In this state, his swordsmanship was not suppressed by Yan Yuanjing at all, and this discovery surprised him. You must know that during this period of time, he has also heard a lot of news about the disciples of the sword demon. He heard that he can leapfrog the challenge, and the sword cultivators of the same stage will become his defeats after going to the challenge. The swordsmanship is quite high in the past. The level of the sword demon when he first broke into fame, so with the defeat of those people, Yan Yuanjing's reputation has become more and more famous. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 470. Yan Yuanjing and Qi Changjai fought fiercely for 3 days and 3 nights. Who is the Thunder Sword Cultivator? No Void Sword Cultivator has ever been able to hold on to Yan Yuanjing's hands for so long. That's a fit cultivator, but for the sake of fairness, the cultivation base is pressed to the same level as Yan Yuanjing. Even so, this sword cultivator's swordsmanship is quite good. Yan Yuanjing is a disciple of the sword demon. The sword demon can be the number 1 sword cultivator in the entire spiritual world. In the past, there was also a sword cultivator who was not convinced by the sword demon's reputation, so people kept going to challenge it, and in the end, they all lost, and even saved their lives. Has always been alone, unwilling to be recruited by any forces, and unwilling to recruit disciples, until Yan Yuanjing made an exception. Both of them are very scary. I came here to watch the battle on the first day. Not only did they fight more and more vigorously, but they both improved during the battle. This is a sword cultivator, and he is not convinced by Yan Yuanjing. He wants to find an opportunity to challenge him. When he heard that he was fighting fiercely outside the city, he rushed over immediately. The 2 people's ability to learn and absorb is too strong, and the more they fight, the stronger their strength will be. I know who that Thunder Sword Cultivator is, suddenly a monk said, attracting the attention of many monks around. The cultivator glanced at Zhang Jingfeng and the cultivator beside him, who arrived in the other direction at some point, and said, "You have heard about Zhang Jingfeng from Dingxian Pavilion, Zhang Xiao, there are 2 genius alchemists around him. One is Alchemist Su and the other is Alchemist Yao." This Thunder Sword Cultivator stayed with these 2 genius alchemists, and I heard that he arrived here after crossing the heavenly tribulation outside. It turned out to be him. Jing is also a remarkable character. Those who knew or didn't know, even if they knew, they only noticed Alchemy Yao, and then Alchemist Su. As for the cultivator Ye next to them, they seemed so bleak under the halo of these 2 people. Once Feng Ming, the monks in the city were also envious of this person. Following those 2 genius alchemists, this kid is not very lucky, and he will not be short of any elixirs. Now that Qi Changjai has revealed this hand, he suddenly realizes that the geniuses are not mediocre, but they are blind. The cultivators who didn't know also learned about what happened in Fengming City through the mouths of others, because Gu Yao and the others had been absent for more than half a year, so their reputation here was not very prominent, but now they became gossip as soon as they were popularized. One defeated the 3rd-rank alchemist Shen Xing, and the other defeated the 4th-rank alchemist Gao Tian, who was also Shen Xing's apprentice, and was promoted to the 3rd-rank alchemist before entering the integration period. These 2 alchemists are more than geniuses. In addition to the current Lei Jiangziu, who is on a par with Yan Yuanjing, what is the origin of these 3 people? Zhang Jingfeng brought people here because he was worried about Qi Changjai. He knew what happened to him. In the eyes of Shen Xing and those people, the identities of Qi Changjai and Gu Yao had been exposed, lest they would confront Qi Changjai outside the city. Hands-on, cannot help but nervous. This son is a craftable material, and he will definitely do a lot in the future. The old man beside Zhang Jingfeng saw his eyes light up. Although he was not a sword cultivator, he still had that vision. Zhang Jingfeng reminded, "Senior, beware of Senior Peng beside alchemist Shen. Don't worry, the old man saves it." According to Senior's vision, which of the two is better at swordsmanship, Zhang Jingfeng couldn't help but wonder. Others couldn't see the aura on Qi Changjai's body, but he knew it early on. They just turned the gods into cultivation, and they killed the virtual cultivator. Although it has always been sincere them, it is impossible to do it without strength. The series of battles in the secret realm of the Endless Pond also showed Qi Changjai's amazing combat power. The old man said, "Qi Xiao is a cultivator after all. Although his cultivation is suppressed, his understanding and vision of swordsmanship will not change. These two are not fighting between life and death, they are both holding each other to sharpen themselves. A swordsman will never be obsessed with winning or losing. I think it's not the first time that these two have fought each other, so they are quite familiar with each other's swordsmanship, but they have added new insights, so now they are learning new things, and this competition has come to an end." As if in response to the old man's words, the two figures in the center of the battle suddenly separated, as if the battle was too much fun. An unusually dazzling light appeared, and it collided in the air with a bang. At that moment, the swordsmen who came to watch the battle, their swords, whether they were carried on their backs or raised in their dantian, flew out in unison and trembled above their heads, forming a shocking golden sword. The clashing sound seemed to echo the purple thunder dragon and black eagle that were surrendering to the top. This spectacle shocked everyone present. "The kid is too arrogant, this seed teaches you to be good." There was a voice in the void, and as the voice sounded, a black moth condensed from black mist swept towards the two, especially the purple thunder dragon and Qi Changjai below. "It's not good, Senior is helping people." Zhang Jingfeng was shocked, but he didn't expect that there were still people hiding in the dark who wanted to attack Qi Changjai. Where did the stray hairs come from? "Get off!" Lei Zanyan burst out from another void, where the sound passed, the black giant moth cracked inch by inch, and immediately where the previous sound came out, all the concealment techniques were ineffective, revealing the black robe monk hidden inside. Just seeing that he spat out a mouthful of blood, he glanced bitterly at the direction Lei Yanyan came from, turned and fled into the distance. "That's old demon Wang. What is old demon Wang trying to do? He actually tried to attack Sword Demon's disciples, courting death. His target should be that Thunder Sword cultivator. This old demon has always acted unscrupulously. Maybe he saw something on the Thunder Sword cultivator. It deserves a fall, but who's the other guy?" The change in an instant was so amazing that Zhang Jingfeng lost his voice and looked at the sky with the old man beside him. At this time, Yan Yuanjing bowed respectfully over there, saying, "Master, this is the friend of the disciple, and the only one who surpasses the disciple in swordsmanship. It's you, come with me." No one was seen coming out, and a wind swept away the two people below, and took it to an unknown location. The surrounding monks were quiet for a while, and then suddenly exploded with a boom. "That's the sword demon. I didn't expect the sword demon to come in person. I actually heard the voice of the sword demon Senior, haha. Wang old demon lost not wrong. Senior sword demon was very merciful, otherwise he wouldn't have a chance to escape. Did you hear what Dai Yan said? He said that Lei Jiangziu was his friend, and he was better than him in swordsmanship. Sword demon won't be bad for that Thunder Sword cultivator, right? You think of Senior Sword Demon's mind too narrowly." Fellow Daoist Yan said that they are friends, and they are clearly attracted to each other. Perhaps the sword demon loves Wu Jiwu and gives instructions to the thunder sword cultivator, which will benefit him for a lifetime. Brother Peng's pupils shrank slightly, but he hesitated whether to make a move. After all, an old man on Zhang Jingfeng's side was not weak, so he made a move. The chance of success is not high. He didn't expect that he could escape the catastrophe with this hesitation for a while. Old Demon Wang became the Pathfinder stone. Others could not see it, but he knew very well that there was a sword in the thunderous sound. The demon's sword energy, Wang Old Demon may have to adjust his breath for a while to recover. This Lei Xianjiangziu and Yan Yuanjing really had a very weak relationship. The sword demon took him away together, making it clear that it was to maintain or even love the attitude of love. He was very glad that he did not take action. As for other things, he is not in control. Okay, let Shen Xing and Wu Yuan take care of their headaches. Brother Peng turned around and walked into the city without hesitation. Zhang Jingfeng and the old man also felt relieved when they saw this, and the surnamed Peng was planning to give up. Senior, let's go back and tell alchemist Yao about Ye Dai's situation, so that he won't worry. The old man nodded, and Zhang Jingfeng glanced at the direction in which Qi Changjai and the others disappeared, and then flew towards the city together. The other cultivators stayed in the same place and went sips excitedly for a while before they gradually dispersed. As they dispersed, this wonderful battle of sparring and the appearance of the sword demon would make the cultivators have a heated discussion for a long time. Qi Changjai was just taken away here, when Gu Yao's heart moved there, and the movements in his hands stopped. Su Chen looked at him, "What's the matter?" Gu Zan responded to the concentric bell and said that Brother Ye was getting farther and farther away from me. Su Chen joked, "Maybe he really answered my words and was kidnapped by that guy Yan Yuanjing." Gu Yao glared at Su Chen angrily, "Does he look like an elder? He simply suspends his current work and walks out of the pill room to first understand the situation of Qi Changjai. When I came out and asked people, I learned that Zhang Jingfeng also went to the scene to watch the battle, and there was news that everything was okay." Gu Yao simply waited for Zhang Jingfeng to come back and ask for clarification. Zhang Jingfeng came back soon and gave Gu Yao a detailed description of what happened after Yan Yuanjing and Qi Changjai had a discussion, including old demon Wang's sudden attack and the sword demon taking them away together. Gu Yao breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this, and vaguely guessed the reason why the sword demon took Qi Changjai away. After all, the sword pavilion in the death demon domain was left by the sword demon, and when Qi Changjai received the approval of the sword pavilion, the sword demon must have also learned from Yan Yuan. I know from Jing there, it is said that the two are also related. Wanting to understand this passage, he turned to watch Zhang Jingfeng and said, "Since it was senior sword demon who took Brother Ye away, I think there will be no problem. Brother Ye will be very happy when he sees sword demon." Zhang Jingfeng saw that Gu Yao was really not worried at all, and seemed to be relieved. Although he was curious about how he had so much confidence in the sword demon, he wouldn't get to the bottom of it if Gu Yao didn't say it. "But who is the old demon Wang?" Gu Yao suddenly asked with a sullen face.